Ila umakile esa. Umaye, umaye. Sumaye, obagora. Dea, obagore. Mega dose, umegore. Sumaye, umaye. Sumaye.
Hi, I'm Ron Howenstein. In November of 2008, my wife Becky and I traveled to Kenya in East Africa to visit our missionary friends there, Todd and Michelle Ingram. When the Ingrams left Post Falls, Idaho in 2003, their vision was to share God's timeless family values with Kenyans, people who desperately need that kind of message. Little did they know that God had something else in store for them. They soon found themselves adopting not one, but 3 Kenyan children. The Ingrams' adoption story began in the year 2004, about 20 kilometers down this road in the town of Butere, where they met a beautiful young girl named Flora.
We had been told about a little girl who had lost her mother to AIDS. I saw this little girl, and she was dragging cows and putting them out in the yard. She was running and carrying water into all the different houses. She was doing laundry. And then I noticed that some of the older boys were starting to look at her. And I asked who this was, and they said, well, this is the little girl that we told you about. And my heart just melted. Part of our ministry has been trying to establish the God-given rights of young girls and the rights for them to be treated correctly. Having watched so many of them at a very young age being especially orphans sold to old men as a second or third wife, and knowing the rape and how high it is, I knew if that little girl stayed where she was, it wasn't going to be much longer and she was going to be in trouble. Flora's mother herself was 15 years old when she gave birth to Flora. And I called Michelle. And I told her about Flora. And I asked her if we should take her into our house. And without missing a beat, it was yes, when can she come? We then went down to the Annie's house on Christmas Eve to pick Flora up. And she came to us. She hadn't even finished 2nd grade. And she was 11 years old. She couldn't read, she couldn't write, she couldn't spell. There wasn't any English in her vocabulary.
To see Flora now, if you asked her 4 years ago what she wanted to do, she'd just look at you. She wouldn't answer, she wouldn't say anything. She was so shy and withdrawn. And now she's like, I want to be a nurse, I want to do this, I want to go to college. She's got very distinct goals.
Apparently Flora wasn't the only child God wanted the Ingrams to adopt. They soon met a brother and sister, Moses and Zipporah. And their story begins with this guard shack behind me. This man is Elphas Ndechi, Moses and Zipporah's father. He worked as a night watchman in that guard shack from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., 7 days a week, for a salary of just $50 a month. His life was turned upside down when Moses' mother died while giving birth to Moses.
And so a father found himself with an infant and no way to take care of him and the 3-year-old daughter and 3 other children. There was no one to babysit, so he had to leave those kids alone in the house all night long.
Elphas and his 3 other children live in this tiny shack carved into this steep hillside. Todd Ingram and Elphas explain the living conditions.
There is no plumbing. There is no water inside the house. The water is outside the house here.
Yeah, the water is just inside. Yeah, outside, not inside.
There is no toilet.
There are no toilets.
Inside the house.
Outside, yeah.
There is electricity, but that's it. And so all the cooking is done outside. The washing, the bathing is all done outside.
Yeah.
In December 2006, the Ingrams found Moses, then 6 weeks old, at this orphanage called The Nest. Elphas had placed him there because of his inability to care for an infant while manning the guard shack all night. When Elphas met the Ingrams and sensed their hearts for children, he asked them to care for Moses' sister, 3-year-old Zipporah, as well. Todd and Michelle and the rest of the family Abraham, Isabel, and Flora, quickly fell in love with the new additions. The decision to be foster parents was soon followed by a commitment to adopt Moses and Zipporah.
God has told us very clearly the only thing we're supposed to be religious about is taking care of the widows and the orphans. I full on believe with all my heart Flora would have been something that took away from society. And now she's going to be somebody who helps to change society.
If they were to stay here and things continue as they're going, Flora's grandmother thinks that she would be great as a peanut farmer for the rest of her life, that she doesn't need to do anything but get married and raise peanuts. She doesn't need an education. As her grandmother point blank to my face said was, I don't have an education, she doesn't need one either for what she needs to do. I would assume that pretty much the same thing would happen with Alphys's children.
And the hard part of this is between the Kenyan government and the American government and everybody wanting fees for adoptions. We have spent tens of thousands of dollars. We sold our home in America. We have vested everything we have to bring these to completion. And we need help to be able to make that go to completion.
The gift of finances to help this adoption be complete is a gift for the kids. It's not for Todd and I. It's for the kids, and they're part of a family. There's so much love for those kids, and our kids are so tuned into them that you're not supporting us, you're supporting the future of 3 children that have dreams.
Adopting one child is expensive. Adopting 3 children simultaneously is financially overwhelming. Becky and I pray that if anything has touched you in this video, that you will prayerfully consider coming alongside the Ingrams and supporting them to help them secure a new life for Moses, Zipporah, and Flora. You know, we don't get many chances in life to do something that matters for eternity. The Ingrams have helped cause a 180-degree turn in the destiny of these 3 children, so that their lives, the lives of their children, and their grandchildren, and their great-grandchildren will never be the same. We hope you'll join us in becoming a part of this exciting transformation.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Amen. 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 Amen.
What sound does a dog make? About a cow?
Moo.
And a kitty?
Kitty cat.
Ma.
Yeah. How about a crocodile?
What's the
Here.
elephant say? What's the elephant say?
Mm.
Do you remember moose? We were doing moose too. Can you do moose?
I know my ABCs. Next time won't you sing it for me?
Very good. good. Can you count for me?
Good job. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Very good.